Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment lovers. Coming up, a great conversation with the two directors of the Premier Playhouse presents The Premier Premieres. Brittney Lewis is directing The Theater at Night, while Shannon Wright directs Broadly Speaking and Other BS. Both of these one-acts are locally written. We'll hear all about it in just a few minutes. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as draw for another winner of Pizza with the Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day, in your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Oh, you know how I like to say, lift 'em high, no matter where you are, what time of day it is, no matter what you're drinking, no matter what you're drinking it out of. Well, when it comes to this Weekend Eve toast, I know they lift 'em high down there. It's to the Sky in Tea. Congratulations, Tanya and Jim Baker. 5 years of owning that bar now. I've been lucky enough to be hosting trivia there for 4 of those 5 years, I do believe. And speaking of, this Friday is Cheaters Trivia at the Sky. Again, though, congrats to Tanya and Jim. It's a pleasure knowing you two crazy kids and having fun out there. Hey, you know, speaking of the Weekend Eve toast, it's now brought to you by the Sky. The Sky and Tea provides all caps fun, and that is best had with friends. Have fun playing darts or shooting pool. Have fun listening to great live music from local musicians. Have fun singing karaoke. Have fun testing your knowledge at trivia. Maybe you need more room to hold a company party or hold a benefit. Well, the Sky's big back room fits the bill. No matter what's going on at the Sky, it's local and it's lively. It's time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram is automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Now, we draw a winner each week, and this week we say congratulations to John Martin. We'll be in touch with you, John, to get you all set up with some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, Sonny'sPizzeria.com. Honorable mention. Oh, what made Dave smile this past week? I'm just going to stop right there because along with the smile came a whole bunch of hooting and hollering and a lot of clapping. This goes out to the Uncalculated Jazz Collective. They were playing last Thursday down at Monk's. In that new area, or not new area, but, it's got the new stage back there. It's very cool. And you're going to recognize several of these names. Ruben Rodriguez was on bass. Ruben has been on the show several times because Ruben brings food. Al Bervin was on drums. Joel Shotwell on sax. Now, Al's been on the show before. Joel's been on before. Joel's going to be on again next week. And then a guy that I had heard of but had not seen or heard play, Alexander Olson. And he will have to be a future guest. I tell you, the 4 of these, we go to a lot and take in local and lively entertainment all the time. And we love live music. I'm a big jazz lover. And I've seen some great groups, because they all kind of interchange. Everybody collaborates and plays together. And this particular quartet was hot. Hot jazz just was amazing. So next week when Joel Shotwell's on, I'm going to find out more about that particular quartet and what it was, because I tell you what, watching Alexander Olson play the keys was just amazing. Okay, so there you go. This weekend's honorable mention to the Uncalculated Jazz Collective. Coming up, we're going to learn about the Premier Playhouse presents the Premier Premieres from directors Brittney Lewis and Shannon Wright on the Dave Holly Hour.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Arts and entertainment lovers, you hit the mark. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Seriously, when am I going to get around to just recording this saying of, it's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment. And the follow-up after that is it's always a pleasure to have new guests on the show as well. And we got a new topic to talk about. Not that we haven't talked about the Premier Playhouse in the past, but this is a fun and exciting event as coming up on the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. At the Belbus Theater over at the Washington Pavilion, you get two shows in one. Two one-act plays, the Premier Premieres, and we'll get into how that whole thing came about. But first, there's going to be, broadly speaking, and Other BS. That's going to be directed by Miss Shannon Wright. How are you today, Shannon?
I'm just great, Dave. How are you?
Wonderful. Oh, I've already told you like 3 times. I'm better anytime I see you.
See? Same.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
And then the theater at night is being directed by Brittney Lewis. How are you, Brittney?
I'm doing great today, Dave.
Wonderful. Glad to have both of you along. So here we are. This podcast comes out on Thursday. That means we are 1 week away from this finally coming to fruition.
Oh, I'm so excited.
This is just a really, really cool thing. Who wants to take a stab at giving an idea as to how the whole process came about, that we had 2 locally written plays taking place?
Yeah, you might know more about this than I do, actually.
Yeah, the Premier Premieres is a program put on by the Premier Playhouse, and it is done in 3 stages. So they accept submissions. About a year ago, they accepted submissions from local playwrights to submit their one-acts. And then it was 5 of those were chosen by a panel. Mm-hmm. And those last summer, those 5 plays were put on as cold reads at the Premier Playhouse. And then a board of 3 local theater makers chose 2 out of those 5 shows to produce through the Premier Playhouse with full production support. So that means a full production team, costume designer, scenic designer, lighting designer, and then a local director, which is Shannon and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So since you have the microphone at the moment, Brittney, tell us what drew you to this project that you wanted to be a director of one of those one acts.
So, like Dave said, I'm directing Theater at Night by Mo Hurley. I actually saw the reading that they did last summer when they did it at the Premier Playhouse, and I was immediately drawn to the play. My show has a lot to do about grief and how the theater space is more than just a physical space, but also a community. I was really emotionally drawn to it. And when I had the opportunity to become involved, I found myself even more drawn to directing it and helping such a magical script come to life on stage. And
looking forward to this. I just think this is such a great deal. When Oliver first came on board, he had mentioned that this was something that was going to be in the works anyway. And he had experience with it in the past. It's like, okay, perfect. But, still, when you try something new in anything, it's always a roll of the dice. But I think the dice have come up quite well. I think we got boxcars on this one. Shannon, what drew you to directing in this?
So it was actually, I have not been nearly as involved in the earlier process as Brittney has. I honestly was not aware of that process at all. And I've kind of been out of the theater business. I've been much more involved in film. So I've been, directing and art directing film for quite a while now, but have gotten out of the theater a bit. And I just kind of came to a point in my life where I was like, I miss the theater. I want to go back to it. So I actually went and took a class at the Playhouse, which I think a lot of people don't even realize they do classes there. And it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. After one other person left, I was by far the oldest person in the class. I mean, and part of this process
at 29 even.
Right, at 29.
Yeah.
I love this process that, being part of the Playhouse, because there's such a wide range of ages of people involved. I absolutely love that. I'm old enough to be Brittney's mom. So, it's so cool that we're able to do a show together.
Connect.
That are two separate pieces, but we have these connections and we have the same understanding of things, which is so cool. I love that. So anyway, I took this class, and after the class was over, Oliver called me in and said, hey, is this something, let me give you the script, and is this something you'd want to direct? And so I just started reading the script, and we just started talking about things, and Oliver and I had a very similar concept of the piece. So it just kind of all gelled. It just sort of worked out. It was great.
Well, it's going to be interesting because the one that you are directing is one that's already been in the books. It's been performed around town
before.
Not on this particular stage.
Correct.
And so it already had 5 pretty established cast members. Now, some of those are in this cast as well, but they pretty well had self-directed themselves.
Right.
So what were the challenges working that way with maybe a new cast member or maybe just a little bit different direction than what they were used to?
Yeah.
What's been tough about that? But then also, what have been the great things that have come about from it?
About it? Yeah, I think so. The whole thing with new play development, right, is you're taking different perspectives and bringing them into that process and seeing what it can become, right? So it had already been an established thing. We have 2 of the 5 that were originally in it did not want to audition for it, did not, they had schedule conflicts and all kinds of things that didn't work out. So 3 of the original ones did audition for it, and those 3 are in it. And then we added, so the initial script is 5 people. We added 2 more. So now we have 7. So we have these 7 women, all between the ages of 40 and 70. And all of this is a nonlinear script, right? So these are all essentially monologues, and they're all very personal. So I think one of the interesting challenges was taking new actors and giving them some of this material that was very personal to
somebody
specific
else,
people,
right?
Because they had written it. So kind of matching up those personalities with some of those pieces was a really interesting process. We actually had to go back and forth a little bit in terms of who's doing which of the monologues, who's doing which pieces, how are we, even down to some of those pieces were written for one person to do. And I flipped that a little bit and there's one particular piece that I put 3 people in as a way of showing kind of a continuity across humanity of, right? Like different people all experience the same thing. So I wanted people to be able to see that. There's a lot of things in this show that you'll see that are a lot about togetherness, right? Like a friend group that's all supporting each other. But there's also an element in there of that individuality, right? And of almost sometimes an aloneness. Because I noticed that a lot of most of the show is comedy, right? And then you've got some more serious emotional pieces of it in there. And all of those serious emotional pieces are very solitary, right? They're one person on their own. They're not group pieces like some of the others are.
Not like the times where they're drinking wine.
Right. Yeah, where they're kind of all together, they're hanging out. Yeah, there's a scene where they're all together kind of lamenting the dating scene, which is really awesome and very funny. And so much of it is very humorous. A lot of it's a comedy show, but then you've got these little pieces in there that really highlight like how, even when we have a friend group, even when we have a lot of people around us and a great support system, there are some things that we just go through alone, right? Like they're so personal to us and we just go through them alone. So I kind of want to highlight that.
Yeah, and it's from the bits that I've seen of it so far, it's looking fantastic. And I love the way that there is such a great part of what I had already seen from broadcast theater in there, but also the additions and just the way that things have kind of been reworked a little bit. Yeah. That's been fun to notice. And when you said, it's a comedy show, it really made me think of, it's in some ways even almost like a stand-up comedy show.
It is.
Because there's callbacks and so forth. There are things that we keep coming back to when you had talked about lamenting the dating scene and the how many times are they sitting around? 3 times that they're sitting around naming names and what happened on those dates and so forth.
Right.
And very comical. And even though that is from a woman's perspective, if you had a show with 5 guys doing the same thing, it would be very similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it is about, just getting down to human things. But the female side of the conversation is just a hoot. But like you did say, there are some really heartfelt moments in there, too, that we get to catch up on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great show, and we'll talk a little bit more. But we got to let Brittney have a little bit of time to now talk about theater at night.
It's so beautiful.
And, so yours is different. Here Shannon has a show that had been performed. You have something that this will be a world premiere of.
Yes, it will be.
Yes,
that's so
exciting. Very exciting, no doubt about that. And Mo Hurley, first of all, I love telling this because, sometimes people look at Mo and she's, talks kind of like this. Oh, hi, how are you? And everybody thinks that this is just this, timid person and so forth. Well, I remember last year in the 39 Steps, a cast of 4. And so as they're making their way out and I'm waiting around to say congratulations, the first one I see is Marisa Moser. And so I go over to tell her a great job, and she could have cared less about it being a good job for her. She goes, I keep telling everybody that Mo Hurley is a force to be reckoned with. I will never forget that.
True.
And then I did have Mo on the show not long after that, and, she's so humble, too. But my goodness, can she write and tell a tale?
Yes.
Yeah, and what's been the most fun for you directing this as a first-time piece?
I think that working with Mo and having like the living playwright in the room with me as I'm working on her work is so special. And it's been just so exciting be able to bounce ideas off with her, and she has trust in me that I'm going to do her piece justice, and just being able to work together has been so exciting. This piece started off as a picture book for Mo, and of the same title. And she says that there was just so much more to be told, and I love telling that story with her, and just seeing all of the intricate things in her script come to life. And I just notice new things every time I read the script. I'm like, oh yeah, like she's just a genius. Like the way that she can connect all of the script together is just beautiful.
Well, one thing about this play is it happens to be a play within a play.
Yes.
Actually, a couple plays within a play, if you want to look at it differently, in the fact that it's about a theater back in the 1940s, and then at one time it has to go to doing radio plays. And so you've got people that are reading the scripts for that, and a new person gets thrown in, and a romance begins to come about. But there's, you talk about it being very heartfelt. There's some comedy in it.
There is, yes. It is very funny, too.
Yeah, there's some great stuff, but it also is just, well, I'm not going to have a spoiler out here, but wait till you see the final scene. Yeah. And it will, if you don't get a lump in your throat, something's wrong. The music plays a big part in the show too. I've really integrated music into it, and we'll see that in the last scene. But yeah, I don't think anyone will be leaving the theater with a dry eye. Nope, it really. And we don't care.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
That's kind of what I want. I want people to feel things, and I want people to identify with what is being said in some way, and just feel something when they see it.
And I think between the two, it gives you a whole range of emotion,
it's
right?
True.
Like, you've got the whole range from beginning to end, which is so nice.
And I think that that's going to be something that will be very beneficial for people seeing it, trying to get a handle on it. There's a lot of people that have seen, yours in terms of broadcast, but nobody's seen Mo's yet. But also, the people that haven't seen either. And they're going, okay, what's this premieres? I heard it's about local playwrights. Do we really have local playwrights? There's going to be all those questions going through the audience's mind. And from what I'm aware of and seeing, because it's going to knock them out of the park. I really think this is going to be something that, when they go around and get people's reactions after the show, I think that mix of emotions that we're talking about is going to be prevalent. And I just think everybody's going to be in awe of what has been done, written locally, produced locally.
It is local theater at the heart.
No doubt about that. And it's just so much fun to see that. So, Brittney, give us a little bit of background on you in terms of, how you got started in theater.
Okay.
And the one thing I found out just the other day, that you don't necessarily like to act.
Well, I started theater in high school. I was a stagehand, and then I found myself in the costume group, and I felt a lot of passion and creativity there. So I pursued that at the University of South Dakota. I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Costume Design and Construction, but they give you a very well-rounded theatrical education there. So I actually studied, I took several classes on one acts in new play development, kind of like Oliver. And that's where I met Oliver. Okay. He got his master's at USD. So I have a big passion for directing these smaller shows. They tend to be more theatrical and artsy, as I call it, and I love that. So I went there for 4 years, and I graduated last May, and I joined the Premier Playhouse, and I've been doing shows with them ever since. I primarily am a costume designer. I'm their costume coordinator for this season. And I love working backstage and having that artistic outlet. And so being a director has been I wanted to push myself, and I'm glad I did. I'm finding new passions and just connecting with the people that are in my show and everyone in this town. Everyone has such an interesting story to tell, and I think that's where I find the most passion.
So tell me, what do you feel you bring to the theater as a director?
I definitely bring my emotional side and my ability to connect with multiple people from all different backgrounds. I love creating a community, and especially with my cast, just bringing them together and creating a safe and comfortable space is a priority for me. And I think that is what I'm providing to my actors.
Yeah. You have a pretty good sized cast.
I do. It is. It's about, I believe, 12 to 15 people. Yeah. It's a decent sized cast compared to Shannon. She has about 7 girls in hers.
Yeah.
So yeah, also being able to command a room with that many people has been a fun challenge. I haven't had to do that before. So just like I said, creating that space and creating a community together can be hard when you have so many different people in a room, but just finding similarities and creating that safe space is really important to me.
Well, and we'll let the cat out of the bag. I happen to be part of your cast.
Yes, Mr. Dave Hawley. He is in my show.
One of the things that I loved about the whole process, first of all, the audition, but then second of all, that first night where both casts and everybody was present, the going around the room, introducing ourselves, what we were looking forward to, things along that line. But then when we broke up and, started meeting individually in terms of the 2 different plays, you had us do that again. And I really appreciated that. And I think it was better even because, you heard so many stories the first time. It's like, man, I can't even keep these people's names right. And then you break it down and you find out new things about people too. And in my own mind, even kind of seeing then what maybe your processes were in terms of casting and getting that right person for the right part. And so, obviously I'm biased, but it's going to be a hell of a night.
It really is. Yeah, I could not be happier with both of our casts. Yeah. Shannon and I have talked about before the theater is meant to make you feel things, and that is definitely, you're going to feel a lot of emotions and feel moved by the end of the night.
Shannon, how would you describe yourself as a director?
Oh boy. So I'm actually like I don't want to say the opposite, because Brittney and I have a lot of very similar philosophies in terms of what theater is about, why people go to the theater, those kinds of things. I'm a little bit different in that I'm much more of a performance artist type person. I'm big picture thinking. I'm all about the abstract ideas and the concepts and connecting humanity. So, earlier when you were asking about one of the challenges where the piece itself is almost into the stand-up comedy realm. One of the biggest challenges was bringing that into a theater space and presenting it as theater rather than that kind of personal stand-up comedy, right? So there's definitely more of a space there. And initially, we talked about making that very practical, right? We talked about the idea of like a front porch, and because so much of it is about home and family. So we talked about like a front porch and a thing. And we ended up going very abstract, right? So now the set is almost an art gallery, right? Taken from the idea of the photo gallery in the home. So we just expanded that idea out into like a gallery concept. I started in theater, literally in second grade and went all the way through college. Like I was on stage doing a monologue in second grade from Laura Ingalls Wilder, which of course, I knew every book word for word. So I did a 2-minute monologue in second grade, so that's where the acting bug kind of bit me. So I've done a lot more from the acting side. And my directing, well, that's not true. My directing side has been both in film, but then I also was artistic director of First Night Sioux Falls for 5 years. So we actually mounted a lot of new productions, right? We created things. And they were all very kind of expansive and big. And, like we had one piece where we had all teenage performers, a singer, musicians, dancers, all, young people, and it was all music from Cirque du Soleil, and we were just creating something new out of that. So I'm much more on that side of things, that sort of abstract, bigger humanity, right? And like how people relate to each other in a bigger sense in the world, right?
I've always thought of you as being quite the ultimate designer, too. In terms of concept design, not necessarily
that's what I am. I'm a concept designer.
Mechanical
right.
design of things, but just
I'm that person who can listen to a song and create a whole music video in my head, and then make it happen, right? I think I said that. I can't remember where we were, but I said, I'm that. If you have an idea, I'm the person that takes that and makes it happen and turns it into something big, right? Like, so yeah, I'm definitely that more designer type person.
All right. So what about the crew then that
we have an awesome crew.
we have for both of these shows?
And Brittney's doing costumes for mine too. It's amazing.
So you got like double and triple duty then.
Oh yeah.
But you'd rather have it that way, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I like being busy.
Yeah. Well, I always say busy beats boredom.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But what are you looking forward to most about designing, not just for the show that you're directing, but for somebody else's too?
I love like we talked about, these shows haven't really been done before in this manner. So having a freedom of design is both exciting and intimidating. But it's been so fun finding a concept that works, especially for Shannon's show. It's very abstract. There's a lot of it. Very artsy is what I like to say.
Yeah, it's definitely we definitely have turned it into an art house. That we went from stand-up comedy to art house, no question about it.
And I love the idea of playing with color and line and texture, and how that can support the message. I would say that being a director in this process has been helpful. I've just been able to fully understand the concept and everything in ways that I probably wouldn't have if I were just designing. So that has been super fun.
Yeah. But do you also, are you your own worst critic when it comes to costume design? And especially when it's the show you're directing?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say critic, but I definitely hold myself to a standard, and I try to get as close as we can with what we have to that.
One thing in this particular play, Theater at Night, is the fact that you've got 1940s and then you've got modern day.
Yeah.
So you've got to cover both of those.
Which has been really fun, actually. I love the 40s and designing for the 40s. So having that opportunity has been so fun.
I've always said that, if there would have been an era for me to be in other than current, it would have been post-World War II Hollywood.
Yes.
Me too. Same. We would have been hanging out together, Dave.
In fact, I've got a nice purple suit that looks really good. But I always think, things along that line. And that's also one of the fun things. As you hang around the theater and get to understand more of it, not just so you're sitting there going, at the end of the night, oh yeah, that was a nice show. That person can really act, can't they? But to be able to say, that was so cool what they did, and did you see what happened to the stage in that one spot?
Yeah.
And the intricacies that take place for everything to come off as a full blown production.
Yeah. I agree.
We've had so many conversations. Like, you
Yeah.
get into these deep conversations. And something else that's really cool that you're going to notice is there are references,
Yes.
right? These little subtle references from one piece to the other,
like
right?
from my show to Shannon's show,
Yeah.
or more Shannon's show to my show.
Right. But yeah, there's those little, I call them Easter eggs almost, right?
Yeah.
There's those little things that you're going to notice that where one show connects to the other, even though the two things have nothing, like there's no
Right.
connection to them in the beginning.
But somehow there's like exact references.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
We
Very
did not plan those.
No. Well, one we did. One I
one.
did, but
The
don't be
mystery.
rest. I know, I can't give it away.
Yeah. That's
So watch out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a week from tonight that it starts on the 16th. So, for one thing, if you forgot to get your honey bunny, something for
Oh,
Valentine's Day,
That's a
but
great idea.
get those tickets now because
Uh-huh.
they're going quickly.
Yes, they are.
What's it going to be like when everybody's together and it's showtime? What do you think's going to happen? And what are you also sitting there praying doesn't happen?
Oh gosh, what does I don't know.
I'm so excited for that first night we're
Yeah.
all together. I guess the first night that we're gonna have our entire cast together in the space will be special. But our opening night when we have an audience, you can't have theater without an audience, and
Right.
so there, the audience is half of it, I would say, and it's gonna be special for having people to see and react for our actors. I think it's going to add a whole nother level.
Oh, absolutely. And there's definitely a community of theater. Like once you get everybody together, there's a community that forms, right? And that, we always talk about like post-show hangover, like, because, and what that really is that you miss the community,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that is going to be so interesting to see is those, right now we kind of have these two separate little communities going on, but once we bring that together, just how everybody interacts with each other is going to be so cool and so interesting to see, because you definitely get a sense of people supporting each other, and that just buoys you up, for what you have to do in a performance,
Yeah.
right? When you feel that support and that community, it really, really helps. You're not just going out on stage alone. You've got this whole unseen thing behind you, between the crew and the other cast and that. So
You're not alone.
Yeah.
you're not alone.
Well,
right?
one thing that gets talked about on this show a lot is family.
Mhm.
Even theater more so than the group that we have in town of comedians or
Right.
musicians. Everybody collaborates.
Right.
And that is fantastic. But when it comes to the theater, the family aspect comes in so much more.
Yes.
And, every time we talk about that, then all I can think of is that, Bob Nelson then has the world's largest theater family.
Yes,
Literally.
he does.
Well, and I think, that's because you have to have an element of trust in theater that you almost don't have to have anywhere else in life.
Right.
Like there is an element of trust that has to be there to make it work. And if you don't have that, that would be the thing that I would say is what you need to be afraid of when you have that situation, is if you don't have that
Nobody has
trust.
your back.
Nobody's got your
Yeah.
back, right? Like that's where it all comes apart. But that in theater, that just doesn't happen because we all have an understanding of what
Right.
it is, right? We all have an understanding that you have to trust other people. You have to, you have to turn over. Like if I have an idea, for example, with the scenic designer that we have,
Pierce Humke.
Pierce Humke is amazing.
He's a
Man's
king.
genius.
So
Yeah.
cool.
He's a genius. He'll come to me and he'll say, okay, so for this one set piece, what do you want? Like what? And I'll, describe it to him, whatever. But I'll say, there's a point though, like I kind of have an idea in my head of what I want, but there's a point where I have to trust that he's going to understand my concept and then execute it. Right. And he does every single time. And honestly, I'll tell him something and I'll envision it in my head and I come back and what he did is 10 times better. And I'm just like, wow, how did you even do that? But that's the kind of trust that you have to have in people in the theater.
And the
is
collaboration.
The collaboration. They know their job. They know what they're doing, right? So you just give them your thoughts, you give them your ideas, and you let them run with it.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the show that you would love to direct?
Ooh.
Oh, wow. That's a question and a half. God, I can't even think of anything right off the top of my head. Brittany, what's yours? You have one?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really.
What would be the one you would love to costume?
Okay.
then?
I have a couple for those. Les Mis is one of my dream musicals to design.
Okay.
And then I would love to costume design Trifles, which is one of my favorite straight plays.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mine is much more, one thing maybe would be David Byrne's show on Broadway. But it almost is more like I was listening to parts of Peter Gabriel's new album today and literally forming a show around it in my head. So I think for me, it's more creating new work.
Yeah.
It's more rather than, it'd be great to direct other things, that already
Right.
exist. But yeah, for me, it's almost more creating the new
creation.
works.
Mhm.
Any aspirations for writing then?
Yes and no. It's not the writing piece itself is not so much in my wheelhouse. I think I'd rather collaborate with someone whose strength is writing, because that's not my writing is way too abstract and ethereal. It doesn't translate itself well to practical things. So yeah, I think I'd rather work with someone that is, has a little more experience in that.
Yeah. How
That's
about
kind of
for you,
like-
Brittany?
For playwriting?
Yes.
I would love to get more involved in it, but I would have to agree that I think I would get bogged down in the creation of it. There it needs to be a certain level of just writing down and having ideas. And I think Mo did that perfectly in her shows, that she writes in such a magical way that leaves a lot of work up to the director and how it's physically going to happen. And that's how my brain works. So I would love to do that, but I think I'm better at the creation and the putting on of the thing.
Yeah, and I mean, we've come across this too in a lot of the stuff I'm doing with the film community in town right now too, where we just need writers, right? Like, so we know how to create it, we know how to make it happen, but we just need a lot more writers. And I mean, I think this is, I believe, going to be an ongoing thing year after year of, finding new playwrights and finding new works and making them come to life. So, who knows? Maybe that's a collaboration with film at some point too, right?
True.
You never know.
It'd be cool.
And how many submissions were there this year?
Oh gosh,
The total submissions before it got narrowed down.
15?
something like that. I want to say somewhere 15 to 25.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and then they narrowed it down to 5.
Yeah.
See, and who'd have thunk that Sioux Falls, South Dakota
And yeah,
had, 15 to 25
that many.
playwrights.
Right.
and those are like
And-
full blown plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And not to mention, how many else are out there
Yes.
that wish to or have the
Sure.
desire and so forth, or maybe already do and didn't submit because they thought, oh boy, I
Yeah.
don't know about this.
Well, one
one.
of the kind of least known, I think, unless you're very involved with USF and USF theater, Kevin Cole writes some amazing stuff.
Yes, he does.
I would love to direct something that he's written.
See, now we
Now
found
that
it.
I think
Yes.
about that, because he writes amazing pieces, and then the USF theater sometimes will perform those. Joe Obermiller does some of his pieces, and man, he's a good writer. Oof.
All right, before we get to the final two questions, let's just recap that we have 2 plays again, and it's Broadcast Theater's Broadly Speaking and Other BS, and then A Night at the Theater, and these take place at the Belbus.
Theater at night.
Theater at night.
Close enough.
I have done that more than once.
Days in the show.
Yeah. My goodness gracious. Yeah, but, I can't remember my age either. So some things, that's why I'm lucky that in the version that I'm in the play, I actually get to read it.
I just choose not to remember mine.
But it's going to be Thursday night the 16th, Friday night the 17th, Saturday night the 18th, and those shows are at 7 or 7:30?
7.
7, okay. And then Sunday matinee at 2 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
At the Belbus. make sure you contact Premier Playhouse, or you can get the tickets at the Washington Pavilion box office.
You can call them.
Yeah, and make sure you get them quickly because it's selling very, very well.
Yeah, they give us
which
updates
is-
all the time, which is awesome.
Yeah, so that's always cool. All right, so we got that taken care of. Now, let's see. Who do I want to pick on first?
Oh no.
No, you know what?
The scary question.
I'm going to go with you,
I feel like I'm
Brittney.
on Colbert question.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you because
Okay.
I've known Shannon a lot longer. So, if you're not busy being in the arts and entertainment, what do you like to be entertained by?
What do I like to be entertained by? I am a big reader. I read like at least a book a week.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I love reading. So I find myself entertained by that a lot, just falling into a new fantasy world. And I think that expands my creativity and my imagination, which definitely helps me in both designing and directing.
Do you have a favorite author, or is that like choosing a favorite child? That old proverbial question that they have.
Yeah, that one's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite author at the moment. I just read so many good books, and I find so
Book a week.
yeah. About my
Yeah.
goal is 75 this year. I hit 50 last year.
Okay.
So
Well done. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying.
Any other hobbies then?
I am. It's not a hobby. I'm an alteration specialist, so I do work on garment construction, and I'm a simple gal. I like watching movies and puzzles and hanging out with my friends.
There we go.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it has been a blast, first of all, being in a play that you're directing.
Yes,
but
it's been
even
so
more so
fun.
having a chance to sit down and learn more about you here today. So certainly appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah. All right, Shannon, here we go. When you're not part of the arts and entertainment world, what do you like to be entertained by?
Mine is probably similar. Books. I mean, I've been a voracious reader since I was a kid.
Good word.
I mean, you know, when my parents couldn't find me in the house, it was like me behind my dad's recliner by the heat vent because I'm always cold, reading a book. I mean, boy, taking me out of the arts is like taking a fish out of water. I mean, everything that I do somehow is connected to
related
that.
back
I
to
mean,
it.
yeah, I'm working on a documentary right now that I, write, direct, produce it. I'm quite entertained by my kids and my cats. My children are definitely entertaining. One of them is an artist, so going to her art shows, but they're both just very funny. Like I almost have like stand-up comedians that I
Yeah. So your oldest is where I first heard the term, oh, snap.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they're just funny kids. They're smart and they're funny and they're just very entertaining.
Yeah. All right. Any other hobbies?
Not really, because I'm all about the projects, right?
Okay.
I'm just one of those people. Well, I'm an Aquarian first and an ENFP. So, right, that like champion idealist, like save the world kind of person. So I do, if I have any hobbies, they revolve around saving the world somehow. But I always have to have a project. So
Once again,
it doesn't even matter what it is. It's just there's always got to be a project
busy
there.
beats
I'm
boredom.
bored. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Shannon, appreciate it. Brittney, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And again, get tickets now.
Yes. Come see our
Immediately
shows.
for the two shows that are taking place at the Belbus, being brought to you by the Premier Playhouse, but at the Belbus next Thursday through Sunday. All right, ladies, thanks again. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much, Dave.
Dave.
That was amazingly fun.
All right. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks to those great guests, Brittney Lewis and Shannon Wright. Looking forward to not just seeing those plays, but actually being in one. And of course, hey, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, following us on social media, and your overall support of the show. Now, if you haven't done so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Just look up Dave Holly Hour, and you'll find us. And by the way, when you do that then, and follow, automatically gets you entered for that Pizza with a Podcaster. For all 166 episodes, go online at davehollyhour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.